Well, welcome to this special edition of Trappism TV. My name is James Trapp, as you know, and I help people fulfill their personal and spiritual potential, and so they can live their best life now. And we have a special, really great guest today, my good friend Randy Gage. So you're in for an absolute treat. And let me tell you a little bit about Randy today. Randy is experienced a lot of media. He offers quite a bit of provocative and straight talk when it comes about personal responsibility necessary for success. And I know that you are looking for success in your own life. He's been written up in the New York Times, Inc. magazine, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur magazine, USA Today, among others. And he has a style that others have described kind of like a cross between Deepak Chopra meets Dennis Miller. And Randy brings his tough love approach on how to overcome limiting beliefs to become successful. And he's bold, he's brash, sometimes controversial. But one thing you can never say about Randy, he is never, ever boring. And he's honed his message as a professional speaker, presenting to more than 2 million people over 50 countries. He's an international best-selling author of 8 best-selling books. His most recent book is Risky is the New Safe. And I want to ask him a couple questions about that book. And it shows how disruptive technology, as well as accelerating speed of change and economic upheaval, are now changing the game when it comes to building wealth. You can call Randy many things. Some people call him a philosopher, a modern-day Jedi Knight, a millionaire messiah. But one thing you don't ever want to do is call him late for dinner. He likes hot cars, warm beaches, cold Dr. Peppers. He believes that quiet confidence and loud ideas are sexy. And when he's not roaming around on a stage or on a podium, he's in his corner of his room writing, I think, his next bestseller. And you'll find him oftentimes when he's not doing that, playing third base somewhere on his softball team. But I think most importantly, I'd like to say about Randy is that he walks the talk of prosperity and success. I know him as a friend and a former board member of my community when I was in South Florida for many years when I was a spiritual leader. And so it's my honor and pleasure to introduce to you Randy Gage. Randy, it's good to see you, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, James, it's wonderful to be on with you. I love this new path you're unfolding into, and love this idea. I know you've got a big event coming up, and I'm delighted to spend a little time with you and share that journey.
Great, great. Well, let's get right to it. You know, one of the things that people often refer to you as the millionaire messiah. Now, let me ask you this. Were you always rich? If not, how did you get there? You know, what's your story that you're sticking to?
I was a guy on a radio show who called me that, and it's funny. I got a lot of blowback ever since then. You know, very fundamentalist religious people think I'm trying to put myself out there as a messiah or something, and of course, nothing could be further than the truth. I'm just a guy who came from a single mother who raised 3 kids by herself, literally knocking on doors, selling Avon back in the day when that's how you did that, and had a very poor childhood and hated being poor. You know, it's funny. You'll see people on TV, some famous person will be interviewed, and they say, "Well, we were poor, but we never knew it." And I'm always thinking, seriously? I was poor and I knew it and I hated it. And it's funny, I always said I will be a millionaire by the time I'm 35. And that's when I became a millionaire. And I didn't know how I was going to be a millionaire. I didn't have specific goals. I didn't write them down. I didn't do a lot of the things that many of the success gurus would teach you because I wasn't really exposed to them. But it's always fascinating to me as I look back, because even when I was 15 years old, when I was in jail for armed robbery at 15, if you would have talked to me then, I still would have told you, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 35. And I think it really speaks to the power of intention and how you program your subconscious mind. And then once you program that, how it guides and directs you through your daily life.
That you bring up a very, very good point. Most people, I mean, I have people that sometimes come to me and they say, you know, I'm experiencing lack and limitation. I don't have a night. Life is a struggle. They believe that, you know, life is hard and then you die. So when someone comes to you like that, what do you say is the most important thing? It sounds like intention and getting clear on where you want to go is one of the beginning points.
Yeah, I guess the first beginning point would be identify the foundational core beliefs you live by. Because there are millions of people, as you know, around the world. Probably there might be 2 billion people who have that core belief of, hey, life's a bitch and then you die. There's another 2 billion people who say, well, our job is to just exist on this plane and prostrate ourselves before our deity and be a good Christian or a good Muslim or a good Hindu or a good whatever and sacrifice now. And then in the afterlife, we're going to get the good stuff. And if that's a core foundational belief you have, you're never going to manifest any kind of happiness, health, prosperity on this plane until you change that belief. Because so you look, the step one is say, what is my core foundational belief? As you know, I wrote a whole book on this, which was about how we get programmed. And I really believe your core foundational beliefs about everything important, religion, God, money, sex, success, you set them all, those beliefs are pretty much set usually before you're 10 years old. Yes. So your mother and father argue all the time. Your father cheated on your mother. Your core belief about marriage is set when you're 8 years old. If you're programmed with religion in a Sunday school or whatever, 6, 7 years old, they're set by the time you're 8 years old. If your father's an alcoholic or you're in an abusive relationship, so these things are formed, and if you don't recognize them and go to change them, they'll cause you to repeat a certain pattern when you're 20, 30, 40, 60, or even 80.
Well, that's a very good point. As you know, I'm going to be doing this event, Wake Up and Thrive, and there's a website that you can see on the screen that you get more information about that next weekend. And it seems that one of the things that we have to be able to do is to make explicit what is unconscious to us, and that is our beliefs. And we're going to delve into that. But what would be your approach to help people become more conscious of what's running their life? Because I think most people live life not even aware that they're being run by unconscious beliefs. How do you bring that forth? How do you get people to understand and identify that?
You got to convince them, and this is really hard for some people to say, the results you're creating, the results you're manifesting are from your beliefs. It's not accident, it's not circumstance, it's not destiny, it's not the bad economy, it's not your cheap boss, it's not your negative ex-spouse. You are somehow causing these patterns to repeat because you have a belief that usually goes back to a worthiness issue. When it's about health, money, prosperity, it's that, wow, I don't really deserve this. This is for others. I don't really deserve that. And so you don't, if I've learned anything after studying prosperity for 20-some years, it's that you don't get the prosperity you deserve, you get the prosperity you believe you deserve.
Yes.
And that's what people have to understand. That's where those beliefs come in. And so you say, how do I feel about marriage and relationships? What were the role models I saw when I was 6, 7, 8 years old? How did I feel about money? Did my mother say money doesn't grow on trees? Did my father say, well, we may not be rich, but at least we're honest? Did we talk around the dining table? Was there jealousy and envy about wealthy people? Did I pick up those core beliefs? Because you know my story well, because we worked together so many years in South Florida. For 35 years, I sabotaged all my success because I didn't believe I was worthy, even though on this conscious level I wanted to be successful. On the subconscious level, I thought, I don't deserve this. This is for other people. And so I ended up in always sabotaging myself, and that's what people do when they have worthiness issues.
Yeah, so if we were to sum this up, that I've always said that you can never go beyond your own self-concept. In other words, how you see yourself is really going to create a limitation on how far you can go. So part of the work that we're going to be talking about at this event is how do you begin to break down those limitations of your own self-concept and create a new one that you can expand into and thrive in your life, no matter what area it happens to be in. So it sounds that that is key. And you mentioned, yeah, go ahead.
That would be my formula, and I know you'll really deal with this at your live event, but if we wanted to continue the thought, so you have this core foundational belief about money, sex, religion, God, everything. Your core beliefs create your vision.
Yeah.
Because people say, well, I don't have a vision. That's my problem. Well, that's not true. Everybody has a vision. But you either have a positive vision, you have a neutral vision, which is, oh, life's a bitch and then you die, or you have a negative vision, which is you're always expecting the other shoe to drop, you're expecting bad things to happen, and then, of course, they do, because we create our expectations. So your programming your programming creates your beliefs.
Yes.
Beliefs create your vision. And then, depending what your vision is, that's what creates your daily actions. And then, of course, the daily actions create your results.
Yes.
So if you have that neutral vision, you don't strive to do great things.
Yes.
If you have that negative vision, somebody comes up to you and they offer you, to buy Twitter stock at 20 cents a share. You say, 140 characters, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. Stupid.
Right.
They could have come to you with IBM. They could have come to you with Disney. It wouldn't matter. You would have said it's a dumb idea and it'll never work because your core foundational belief created the vision, and the vision determines what you do on a day-to-day basis. And you spent all those years giving sermons every Sunday on this kind of thing. I know you'll be able to have a chance at that live event that you'll be able to really kind of expand on that and how people can create a more positive vision so that now when you believe that you deserve success, you believe you deserve to be healthy, you deserve to be happy, you're not afraid to take those daily actions, the daily steps that will allow you to manifest that.
Yeah, because I really believe that once you establish that new vision and you begin to embody that, so as part of every part of your cellular being, that you start attracting and seeing everything around you that will begin to support it, because you are being it in your concept, you're being it in your consciousness, and it begins to just show up naturally because you're the walking embodiment of that very vision. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing that, because I think the first thing that I'm going to start out with is, what is it that you're holding as an image for your life and for yourself? You've got to identify that first and foremost, and then begin to use certain tools to make that explode and express itself even more. Let me ask you, there's a few things that you have mentioned about self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors, and one of the things I think that stops us is that those thoughts hold us back, the self-sabotaging thoughts that lead to behaviors that stop us in our tracks. Do you have any particular techniques that help us move beyond that?
Yeah, I say you got to identify that limiting belief, you got to blow it up, and then you have to reprogram yourself with an empowering belief.
Yeah.
So if you have a belief that rich people are evil, money is bad, that's a very disempowering belief. You got to recognize, oh wow, yeah, I watched, and of course that when I say I wrote that whole book, in that book I talked about how all the TV shows, the popular culture, the movies, social media, your friends, emails, Facebook, Twitter, all of that's programming you with these negative beliefs that money is bad, rich people are evil, it's spiritual to be poor. So you got to realize, wow, I'm getting all of this negative programming, which is creating these beliefs, which create that vision. So now I've got to counter program it. That's why people have to go to events like you're doing. That's why they have to read books by Jim Rohn. That's why they have to listen to positive audios, watch positive videos, be on my YouTube channel, the videos that you make, to get the counter programming, which is, no, it's okay to be wealthy. It's a good thing to be wealthy because you deserve to be prosperous. And when you are prosperous, look at all the good you can do.
Yeah. You bring up a very good point, because some people challenge or believe that it's not good to be successful or rich. But I say I want everyone on the planet to get rich because it takes a lot of money to transform the world. And I think that's what we're here to do in our own corner of the universe. And resources make a huge difference in our ability to do that. So, that's a whole different way that I think we need to start looking at ourselves and what our purpose is for being here. And that's part of the programming that we want to have, because I think you said, or I may have heard someone say, that God wants you to be rich. If you really wanted to break it down, that because he's endowed us with such great possibilities that if spirit could ever get upset, which it can, it doesn't really care what happens, but if it could get upset, it would get upset because we're not fulfilling our potential as spiritual and human beings to bring out the best that's within us. We've been endowed with everything, and we've been kind of squandering it with lack and limitation thinking.
Yeah, people can't see it because it's behind my laptop, but I can look in the top of my bookcase, and I have this big blue ceramic vase award, which was the Lifetime Philanthropy Award, which I was honored with last year from the National Speakers Association, to recognize my lifetime of giving and charitable causes and things. But that only happened, I only received that because I became wealthy. When I think back of how I was struggling, and I worried every day how I was going to pay the electric bill so they didn't cut off the power, how I would get my rent so the landlord wouldn't throw me out, I wasn't helping any of those causes. I wasn't helping anyone because I couldn't even meet my own needs.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
You want to save the world? Great. Get the money thing out of the way. You want to save the world? Great. Get healthy yourself.
Yes.
Want to save the world? Great. Work on yourself first and get to a point where you don't need people to help you, and then you can help other people. And that's prosperity thinking, and that's the mindset that you teach so well that people need to move toward.
Yeah, I've heard this saying, you may have heard it, and the others may have heard it, that when you go on a plane, they said, well, if you have an emergency, give the oxygen mask to yourself first, because you can't help anybody else if you're not in the position to do so. Or as the late, great, and I'm trying to think of his name, the minister out of New York, Reverend Ike.
Reverend Ike.
Used to teach prosperity. He used to say, if you want to help poor people, make sure you don't become one. That's the only way that you can really begin to make a difference in people's lives. You have to begin prosperity for yourself. Let me talk about one other area that I think is important, is that the importance of the people that we surround ourselves with. I think there's something that you may say, and others have said, that the level of our success or level of our prosperity is often reflected by the type of people that we have around us. And sometimes we have what we might call negative people or the trolls around us. How important it is to deal with them, and how is it that you can deal with people like that in your life, that some of them may be relatives or friends you've grown up with, so you can begin to create a whole different mindset for yourself?
Yeah, it started, Jim Rohn made a statement, which I believe he learned from his mentor, that man he always talks about, which was, hey, your income will be the average income of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I would take that further, and I would say your entire prosperity, your health, your relationships. If you're married, I bet your marriage is the median of the 5 couples you guys socialize with the most. Your health, I bet it's a median of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I think in every area of prosperity. And my YouTube channel, for you guys, anyone who hasn't seen it, it's just YouTube/Randy Gage, or if you type in Prosperity TV. And if you look at the shows and how many views, you know what the #1 show that I've ever done was? How to deal with negative people. It's the number. It's embedded on so many sites. I did it. I must have done it 4 years ago, and people still every week. There's dozens of people sending this out.
Yes.
Because the truth is, there are some people, and sometimes we're married to them. Sometimes we're related to them. So if you're married to a negative person, that's one of your 5 is already taken. If you're related to. So you got to say, wow, I may need to balance this out with somebody of a little higher consciousness in the rest of these 5. And there are people in our lives. They could be family, workers, people that we can't necessarily get away from, that we're going to have to be mindful of how much time we spend with them, and mindful of the influence they have on us, the kind of things. So when we say, when this person just, as soon as we meet them right away, they start going into negative gossip, we're mindful and say, hey, wait, you know what? I know you feel that way, but let's talk about something a little more positive.
Yes.
I heard that, you know, you got a new project you're working on at work, or I heard you just got a new kitten, or I heard that, you know, the people you're remodeling your house, and you're mindful of, hey, I'm not going to let this person pull me down, because I'm gonna protect the most valuable thing I have, which is my consciousness.
Yes, I would say you got to put a force field around you, like you're in the Jedi Knight or something like that. You got a force field that you're not allowing that negative influence to come into your awareness, and you're constantly feeding yourself positive messages. One of the things I suggest people do at times, just go on a media fast, because sometimes we just get bombarded with these subliminal and sometimes not so subliminal messages about what we're lacking and what's wrong with us, and why we're doing so many things that are just making us appear to be less than, or we're sinful or something like that. And we need to start feeding ourselves with positive messages. Sometimes just let those things go. Turn off the TV, don't look at all the news on the internet. Read some positive stuff. Listen to what things that you have to say and others like you, so that we begin to recondition our mind. And so when that negative stuff comes to us, it can't touch us, as one of the rappers said, can't touch this, because my consciousness is too strong to be bombarded or somehow influenced by this outside stuff. So we're going to talk about how we can do some of those things to create that force field and really strengthen that prosperity and success consciousness, so we can thrive in our lives at our advance. So definitely check that out. One of the things I think you had shared about one of your talks was the idea of surviving success. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Is that similar to people who have a fear of failure? Because some people, they get to a point of success and they said, this is too good to be true. Is that what you're talking about? They have some hidden belief that they're not worth getting that success.
Yeah, because this was my issue, and most people, I would bet the vast majority of people who come to your live event in Florida, people who watching this, the people who go to read my books, my YouTube channel, they think they have a fear of failure, but most of them have a fear of success. Mm-hmm. And if you told them that, they say, you're crazy. I don't know. Of course I want to be rich. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. But if we really did the deep, peeled away the layers of the onion, we'd find they have worthiness issues, and they are afraid of success because they don't think they're worthy.
Yes.
And what I found is, and you see this, you mentioned MC Hammer. Hammer. He was the guy who sang that you can't touch this.
Yeah.
What happened to MC? He went bankrupt. He had one, best-selling double, triple, quadruple platinums all over, and next thing you know, he's bankrupt. Why? He didn't survive success. Yeah. And now he's kind of working his way back. He's a very spiritual guy, and hopefully I see good things for him. But how many athletes, $5 million signing bonus, $80 million they made in basketball, or $100 million they made in baseball, or $40 million, and they're broke 10 years later, 15 years later, because they didn't survive success, because they didn't do the core work, which is understanding that not only are they worthy, but the character issue and the self-development and the personal growth, you have to become the person who did, because all wealth is created. The thing people have to understand is all prosperity is a value for value exchange.
Right.
The way you become a billionaire or a multimillionaire is you create so much value that the universe rewards you back, because you create a mobile app that 10 million people want to download, or you create a software, or you write a book, or you create a song, or you pen an opera, or you create a foundation, or you're doing something that people say, wow, I want a part of that. I want a piece of that. I want to support that. I want to be a part of that. And that's how wealth is created. So you got to do that work and understand that. And
Yes.
then when you create success, you'll survive it because you won't feel the subconscious need to self-sabotage yourself, which is what I did for 35 years.
Yes, yes. Well, it sounds like one of the things that helps do that, you said you have to give value to such a great degree that it comes back to you. Because I believe that's how the universe, that's how the universe works. That the more you give, the more you start getting back, particularly when you're giving it from a space of really supporting others and becoming the best that they can be in their lives as well. I want to talk a little bit about your most recent book, "Risky is the New Safe," which is a very catchy title. Tell me what that means in this era.
Yeah, what that means is all of the rules have changed. All of the things we grew up believing. Are you getting my audio okay? Because I
Yep.
think. Oh no, I guess the audio is good. Okay.
Yeah, I get you. I hear you.
We grew up and saying, well, model the behavior, see what everyone else is doing, be the safe thing, don't stand out. In Australia, they call it the tall poppy syndrome, which is, hey, the flower that grows the fastest is going to be the first one that gets cut. And in today's world, that isn't the case anymore. And today, we used to say, well, build a better mousetrap. The world is going to beat a path to your door. That isn't the case anymore. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all this social media stuff, cable TV, everything's changing. We're about to enter the most cataclysmic decade in human history. I held a cloned puppy in my hands.
Yes.
That cloned puppy licked my face.
Wow.
That was one of the most life-changing events I ever went through because this was the most adorable puppy I ever. You figure you just adopted him out of the Humane Society.
Yes.
And then when I come to find out he was cloned in a test tube in South Korea, and then you realize how much it will have human cloning within 10 years.
Yes.
And you can say it's immoral and illegal, and we could try to outlaw it, ban it. It won't stop it. Some country somewhere is going to say, well, we don't have oil, we don't have diamonds, we'll be the cloning country.
Yes.
And how much would North Korea pay for a 5 million man clone army? So, what the Risky book is about is learning to ask the right question. How to see around the corner, see what's going to happen in the future, see what the challenges are going to be, and then once you know what the challenges are, now you know what the opportunities are.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Risky is the New Safe is really a book about how to create wealth, but in a whole different way of any other book I ever wrote, because it's about predict what's going to happen with genetic engineering, cloning, biogenetic engineering, and again, the space travel, and when the time will come when it'll be cheaper to bring gold and silver and platinum from mining them on asteroids than it is to bring it out of the Earth. So that's a different question than, say, how much is the price of gold going to go up?
Yes,
it's a different question when you say, what's going to happen to real estate, to say, well, when you can build a home on the floor of the ocean, what will the price of ocean floor real estate do to the price of ocean front real estate?
Wow.
Now ocean floor real estate. A better question, right?
Yes.
So instead of saying, do you really believe we're going to be able to vacation on the moon? A better question would be, well, who owns the moon?
Wow. Yes.
Really? Who owns the moon, right? I mean, U.S. went up there, we put a flag up there, we left a couple of Jeeps up there. Does that mean we own it?
Yes.
If China goes there 2 years from now and they knock down our flag and they put up their flag, does that mean they own it?
They own it, yes.
Yeah, so you say, how do we divide the moon without all the territorial wars and aggressions that it took to divide Earth? Now we're in a much better question.
Yeah,
so, the whole point of Risky is to say, if you ask the wrong question, the answer is irrelevant. So what the book is about is how to ask the better questions that'll take us to where we want to go.
Well, that's a great way to conclude, Randy. You kind of reminded me, I think, of a quote from Albert Einstein. He said, if I had, 60 minutes to figure out an answer to a particular issue, I'd spend 58 of those minutes or something like that figuring out what the right question would be, and then you'll be able to get the answer to it. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking out the time to share, your wisdom And as I indicated, if you want to know more about my event that will go with some of these things that Randy's been talking about, just go to the website www.jamestrapp.com/wake up and thrive, or either go to my website www.jamestrapp.com for more information about that event. Do you have any final words you want to leave with those who will be viewing this video today?
Yeah, a couple things. One, no matter who you are watching this, I promise you, you deserve prosperity. I'll also promise you, you're not going to manifest it until you honestly believe you deserve it. And number three, I would tell you, I've known James Trapp for probably 20 years at least.
Yeah.
Got a chance to interact with him on a weekly basis at a wonderful place in Miami called Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community there. And I can tell you, this is a guy who can help you create those positive beliefs. And if you, whatever you have to do to get to an alive event from this guy, James Trapp, make sure you do it, because he's just a wonderful guide in those areas, and I know you will get just mountains and mountains of value out of spending a day with him. So I want to encourage you all to do that. This guy's the real deal, and you know, take the chance that you got the opportunity to spend some time and learn from him. Take that opportunity.
Well, Randy, thank you so much, and I know that you always kind of end your programs of live rich, and I know you'll continue to live rich, and I just want to let everyone else know that you do have the power to create your best life now, and I'm looking forward to having that opportunity to help you do that. Appreciate you being part of this program, Randy.
Thanks, James.